Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 10 Minutes Daily Cafe Chat. It is Monday, April 13th, 2026. I am Emily.
And I am Lisa. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend.
I actually spent part of mine watching a nature documentary about deep-sea creatures. Octopuses, mostly.
Oh, nice. I love those. The way octopuses squeeze through tiny gaps is unreal.
So then I fell down a rabbit hole reading about ancient marine life, and I found something that blew my mind.
Already? It is 8 a.m. on a Monday, and you are already mind blown?
I couldn't help it. This one involves a fossil that fooled scientists for over 25 years.
Okay, now I need to hear this. But first, what else are we talking about today?
After that, Route 66 is celebrating its 100th birthday, and then we'll talk about why allergy season feels so brutal right now.
Oh, a nice mix. History, science, and suffering.
If you're new to our cafe, welcome. Every day we turn real news into casual English conversation, perfect for shadowing practice.
Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a morning chat with us.
Today's keyword is fossil.
Like a dinosaur bone in a museum?
That's the classic image. A fossil is any preserved remains or trace of ancient life, usually found in rock. It could be a bone, a shell, a tooth, even a footprint. So not just dinosaurs. Got it. Let me try a sentence. Scientists discovered a fossil that changed everything they thought they knew about octopuses. Great sentence, and very relevant to our first story today. Let's get into it. Let us start with our first story, and this one is a real plot twist. Remember I mentioned a fossil that fooled scientists?
Yes, I have been waiting. Tell me everything.
So there's a fossil called Pulsepia masonensis that was originally found at the Mason Creek site in Illinois. It was identified back in 2000 as the world's oldest octopus, roughly 300 million years old. 300 million years? That would make it older than the dinosaurs. Way older. And it became famous. It was in the Guinness Book of World Records and everything. Okay, so what went wrong? A team led by a researcher named Dr. Thomas Clements at the University of Reading decided to take another look using modern technology, specifically synchrotron imaging. That's basically a super powerful X-ray, right? I remember reading about synchrotrons being used on Egyptian mummies, too. Exactly, same idea. And when they scanned the fossil, they found something tiny but critical. Teeth. Teeth? Octopuses have teeth? They have a structure called a radula, which is like a tongue covered in tiny rows of teeth. Octopuses typically have 7 to 9 teeth per row. And this fossil had a different number? It had 11 teeth per row, which matches nautiloids, creatures related to the nautilus. So 11 teeth per row, not 7 to 9. That's the whole case right there. The teeth also matched a known fossil nautiloid species called Paleocadmus poli, so the evidence was strong. But how did they get it wrong for 25 years? Surely someone looked at it carefully. That's the fascinating part. The animal had decomposed for weeks before it was fossilized, and that decomposition made it look like an octopus. The body basically collapsed into a shape that mimicked one. So nature played a trick on the scientists. The body rotted into a disguise. The researchers published their findings in Proceedings of the Royal Society B on April 8th, and the lead quote is perfect. Quote, "It turns out the world's most famous octopus fossil was never an octopus after all." That is such a good line. So what does this mean for the actual oldest octopus? It pushes the origin of octopuses forward to the Jurassic period. And as a bonus, this fossil is now the oldest known example of nautiloid soft tissue, about 220 million years older than the previous record. So it lost one title and gained another. Not bad for a 300 million year old mystery. Moving on to our second story, and this one is about an American icon turning 100.
Ooh, who is it? A person? A building?
a road. Route 66 was commissioned in 1926, which means 2026 is its centennial year.
Route 66! I have always wanted to drive that road. My uncle did it back in the 90s, and he still talks about it constantly.
It runs from Chicago, Illinois, all the way to Santa Monica, California, about 3,940 kilometers, or roughly 2,448 miles.
That is like driving across an entire continent. How long does that take?
Most people do it in about 2 to 3 weeks if they want to actually stop and enjoy things.
So who came up with the idea? Was it a government project?
It was largely the vision of a businessman from Oklahoma. He's actually called the father of Route 66. He specifically chose the number 66 because he thought it had marketing appeal.
Marketing appeal for a highway number? That is brilliant. 66 does roll off the tongue nicely.
A famous American novelist later called it the Mother Road in The Grapes of Wrath, and that name stuck forever.
Right, because during the Dust Bowl in the 1930s, thousands of families used it to migrate west, looking for work. It was literally a lifeline.
And here's something many people do not realize. More than half of Route 66 cuts through Native American lands.
I did not know that. That adds a whole different layer to the history.
The road also has some incredible landmarks. There's the Cadillac Ranch in Amarillo, Texas, where 10 vintage Cadillacs are buried, nose first, in the ground. It's been there since 1974.
I've seen photos of that. People spray paint all over them, right? It's like a living art installation.
Then there's the Midway Cafe in Adrian, Texas, which is the exact midpoint of the entire route.
Imagine working there. Welcome to the middle of everywhere.
And if you've seen the Pixar movie, Cars, there's a real gas station called the Canotex Station that inspired some of the locations in that film.
No way! I loved that movie as a kid. Knowing there's a real place behind it makes it even better.
There's also cultural history woven into the road. Back in 1936, a postal worker started publishing a travel guide called the Green Book that listed safe places for Black travelers during segregation.
That's such an important part of American road trip history. And of course, there's that famous song, right? Get Your Kicks on Route 66?
That's the one. It's been covered by so many artists over the decades that it basically became the road's unofficial anthem.
100 years old and still iconic. That road earned its birthday party.
Finally, our third topic today is something millions of people are dealing with right now. Allergy season.
Oh, do not even get me started. My eyes have been itchy all week.
So here's a question. What do you think is causing your allergies right now?
Cherry blossoms. They're blooming everywhere and they look suspicious.
That is actually a very common mistake. Cherry blossom pollen is sticky and gets spread by insects, so it doesn't really float through the air much. It's actually pretty harmless to most people.
Wait, seriously? So all this time I've been blaming the prettiest trees for nothing?
The real culprits are the less glamorous trees. Birch, maple, poplar, and willow. Their pollen is light and wind-blown, which means it travels through the air and right into your nose.
So the ugly trees are the villains. Of course, the showy ones are innocent.
Right now, in April 2026, tree pollen levels are rated high, and the forecast says very high is coming soon. That tracks. I've been going through tissues at an alarming rate. And here's the bigger picture. Climate change is making allergy seasons longer and more intense every year. How does that work exactly? Warmer temperatures mean trees bloom earlier in the spring, and the first frost comes later in the fall, so the window where pollen is in the air just keeps stretching. So it's not just in our heads. Allergies really are getting worse. A doctor at Mount Sinai Hospital, Dr. Alfred Illaretta, who specializes in ear, nose, and throat medicine, has been talking about this. He says the season now starts in late March and continues through summer and into fall. Late March through fall, that's basically 8 months of suffering. For relief, the most common over-the-counter options are cetirizine, which is sold as Zyrtec, and loratadine, which is Claritin. I keep both in my bag at all times. But honestly, some days nothing seems to help. The best non-medicine advice is to check the pollen forecast before you go outside, keep windows closed on high pollen days, and shower when you get home to wash the pollen off. Shower off the invisible enemy. Got it. Although, honestly, I'd rather just stay inside until November. That's one strategy. An extreme one, but valid. So we covered a lot of ground today. A 300-million-year-old identity crisis, a 100-year-old road, and an allergy season that refuses to quit.
Quite the Monday morning lineup. My brain is fully awake now.
Let us circle back to today's keyword, fossil. Lisa, you already used it perfectly earlier.
I did, and now I keep thinking about it. A fossil is basically nature's time capsule, preserving something from millions of years ago so we can learn from it today.
Beautifully said. And sometimes what a fossil tells us can change completely with new technology, like our octopus that turned out to be a nautiloid.
Science is never really done, is it? Just one better tool away from a whole new answer.
Now, here is today's question for you, listeners. Which of today's 3 stories interested you the most?
Let me set it up. What are the choices?
Option A is the octopus fossil that turned out to be something else entirely. Option B is Route 66 celebrating 100 years. Option C is allergy season getting longer because of climate change.
I'm picking A. The idea of a fossil tricking scientists for 25 years is just too good.
I'm going with B. 100 years of American road trip history and the fact that a businessman picked the number 66 for marketing reasons. That detail got me. Fair, Route 66 does have the best stories. Drop your pick in the comments. A, B, or C. Any language works, even just an emoji. We read every single comment, and it really helps us shape future episodes. And if you enjoyed today's Monday kickoff, please hit the like button and subscribe. Ring that notification bell too, so you never miss a morning cafe chat with us. Start your week strong, everyone, and maybe pop an allergy pill before you head out. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.